chivo, which is Chiva. And so some backstory about this is it originated from Mexico, mainly in Yucatan, and it's basically a witch, or some person that does dark magic, onto which they turn themselves into a half beast and half person. And the white chivo, this means basically half man and half goat. And
so, wait, but like, is it like the chupacabra or like what?
No.
Just to clear it up.
This doesn't feed off animals, and there's many stories about these guys.
All right, so continue.
And they also can be girls. I guess they're not sexist, but anyways.
Bro.
No, but yeah, and so they're basically these witches, who they do a bunch of shady stuff. They would eat, like, drink blood out of a goat's head, and just do a crazy ritual, and they would turn into like the animal that they were preparing for. And they would do crazy stuff like that. And one of the main traits is you would feel really cold when one of them was walking right next to you. And mainly they didn't just attack humans. This was more of a fear factor that they did. Kind of asserting dominance, kind of showing that they run things. And so they would walk along like streets in Mexico, and once you would see, when you would get certain symptoms, you would get a really nasty fever, you could start throwing up, you'd get delusional, you'd get sleepy. And so a lot of people from small towns in Mexico had a bunch of these experiences. And one of the main traits that you're walking right next to them, because they could look like ordinary animals, it doesn't mean that they're gonna actually
so they would turn into animals, and they would walk around as animals.
Yeah, but
they were human.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, they're kind of a hybrid. But anyways, and so basically one of the main traits that you could find is that they would have these burning, like almost glowing red eyes, and it just become yeah.
What?
They'd have these like glowing red eyes. And they'd be bigger than whatever animal they'd be. They'd be like twice, 3 times the size of whatever animal they were trying to be.
Okay, so like you said, they were turned into a goat, right?
Yeah.
So like, they would be like twice the size. That'd be like twice the size of a normal goat.
Yeah, it'd be almost like a human-sized goat.
Oh, fuck. But like
if you know the demon Baphomet, it's basically what it looks like, or a centaur, except it's almost all goat and
from
no
like
half man.
From I don't really want to get religious here or get into that, but I mean, from a standpoint of religion, demons do exist. I mean, even if you're not religious,
well, I believe they do exist.
Yeah, I know, they do. I mean, even if you don't believe like in God, you should know that demons exist. And like I was looking this up, get ready for this, and I came across multiple people who were talking about how some monsters like centaurs, like minotaurs, they did in fact exist, but they come from demons having like intercourse with actual humans, and that would create these disgusting beings, But yeah, so talk about your thing, Scott. Continue.
Well, what I think is that these witches would make pacts with demons and become their spitting image, which is why I brought up that if the demon Baphomet, they're almost spitting images of themselves. That's at least my theory. And so they would do all these crazy rituals and stuff, and it's said that they originally came from Yucatan, and it's a Mayan name. It's not very right now. It's not modern. It's been happening for a very long time, And back then, you know, you look at the Aztecs' minds, you know, their religion, how they would sacrifice people, and it was just being normal for them.
That shit was brutal, man.
So, you know, I truly think that it existed. But anyways, you know, even now, you know, like my parents and grandparents, you know, they're fluent, they speak Spanish and Mayan, you know. So I do believe that, you know, they you know, did see a lot of this stuff.
Well, I mean, didn't you say something about, you know?
Yeah, I also have a very personal story about this, which I truly believe it's
just
like,
to be clear,
cool.
I don't want to like, you know, sound weird, but I actually haven't heard this. So right now, this story that he's about to share is new to all of us. So just so it's clear, if I act shocked or if I'm like, what the fuck, I mean, that's sincere, you know. I'm not being like a cringy son of a bitch.
Yeah. So, I don't want to say a lot about the place that this is, but, you know, it's in Mexico when my father used to live in Mexico. And so, when he was young, my grandfather would get really sick. He would get these nasty fevers whenever this stray dog would walk by. And they basically wanted my grandfather to marry, you know, this girl, because, you know, it was different times. And so he didn't want to when he was younger. You know, they didn't force him, but it was just, you know, sort of an influence.
It was pressuring him, they're pressuring.
Yeah, they were like,
wait, they were pressuring your dad or your grandpa?
They were pressuring my grandpa.
Okay.
So my great-grandpa would pressure my grandpa.
Okay, to marry a girl, alright. Did you already have...
Well, it wasn't really pressure, but it was mostly, you know, influence, like, you know...
Yeah, and
since young, they'd be like, oh, you guys are gonna get married, and never take it serious, but...
You talked about...
Supposedly, the lady did.
Yeah, you're talking about your dad's dad, right?
Yeah.
And was this lady your grandma, or no?
What? No.
Okay.
Listen.
Oh, sorry.
So
my
great-grandpa would sort of try and influence my grandpa into marrying this lady. And so he didn't, you know, obviously.
Oh, okay, he didn't. Okay.
He married my grandfather, or he married my grandmother. And so, bear with me. So they live in a really small town. You know, I don't want to say right now, but I think it's pretty big right now, the town. But yeah, they lived in this small town, and you know, it's a small town. Everyone knows each other. And you know, there was no electricity. You know, it was almost completely isolated. It was almost as if the mines that disappeared hundreds of years ago actually lived there. You know, it was it was the descendants, and so everyone knew each other. And you know, at this time, my grandparents were Catholic. My father and, you know, my family were Christian. Well, we converted once, you know, my mother and father were...
Alright, well, it's not really me. You know.
Yeah, anyways. So, they were Catholic at the time. And, you know, it's a small town. Everyone knows everyone. And so, there was this known witch. She was a pretty, you know, middle-aged lady, you know, probably in her 40s, you know, going to 50s. And so, the person that held a grudge with my grandfather, she went to this witch, and, you know, for months, this stray dog would, you know, walk across their land, because there was, you know, dirt roads, you know, to get around, but they owned like half an acre of land, and, you know, a bunch of small lands everywhere around. And so it would walk around in between and jump over this wooden fence, and, you know, just get through to their land. And my uncles would start to notice that, you know, my grandfather would start getting a really bad fever and getting really ill whenever the dog, you know, came by.
Fucking shoot that dog, nigga.
We'll get on to that. Anyways, you know, every time it would come by, and it would mainly come only on Fridays. And so the dog would start going by And once my uncles learned its patterns, you know, how it would travel, how it would get there, they started to climb trees, and they would signal to each other, "Oh, the dog's coming, tell father to get inside." And one of my uncles got a gun or a rifle, and so every single time he'd climb this like really big tree, this fruit tree, and he would go and sit post up for the night, and whenever the dog came by, he would try to shoot at it. But something would make him extremely drowsy, and I'm not saying he would fall asleep. I'm saying when he pointed the gun, he would not stop. And I'm not saying like shaking, like he just couldn't focus. The best way my father explained it to me, because he was up there with one of my uncles, the best way he would explain it to me is if you ever drink, you know, NyQuil and stuff, you get sleepy, but you're like really drowsy, and you know your eyes are almost half opened, and that would only happen whenever they would aim their guns at the dog. And so, you know, this went on for I think a month, where my grandfather would get really sick and they wouldn't know what to do. And like I said, at that time they were very Catholic, and even now we're very religious. And so they went and got a bullet blessed, and they went back up in the tree, and my uncle was the one that shot the dog. And they went up and they shot
it. That she.
Yeah. Oh. And they said a prayer. You know, I don't remember what the prayer was. My dad doesn't even remember, but he just knows they said a prayer. And so they went up, and he said he was still extremely drowsy aiming at it, but he was still able to manage to, you know, be able to actually hit the dog. And so he shot it, but because of how drowsy he was and, you know, his inability, he shot the dog in the leg. He was unable to shoot a fatal blow.
To get it, yeah.
And so the dog, like, kind of crawls away and goes under the fence, and he basically gets cornered by my father's cousin, my uncle, my other uncle, and my father. And you know, they're going, and they have these like lanterns, you know, they're putting it right next to the dog, and it's literally covering its face with its paws, almost in shame. And I was like, that's crazy. And so the dog is just, you know, and it's big, like, I don't know what the breed of dog is called, but Daniel,
Saint Bernard?
do you know that? No, you know that dog that has like the really pointed ears, and they're like black, and they're like really skinny.
Doberman.
I think, yeah. It looked like that, but almost 3 times the size, almost like
Holy
a black wolf.
Shit.
If you've ever seen a Harry Potter movie, and you know about Sirius Black and how he's just like black dog, I think that's the closest description of that. He was quite literally, basically Sirius Black. Like he would turn himself into a dog, but in this case, he was a woman. And so they shot the dog, and they go, and so, you know, that happened, and the dog is, you know, covering itself, almost trying to flee, crawling, but it can't because of its shot leg. And so it's covering its face, and my dad tells me he distinctly remembers that it had glowing red eyes.
Oh god, dude.
And this was before I did research. This was like he had told me about this. And so, you know, he said they went inside to go get a machete so they can finish the job.
Why did you shoot it?
Well, they couldn't. Like, they would get drowsy and stuff. Like, they...
Oh, but they're, like, right next to it. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. But still, they just went to go get a machete.
Yeah. Or whatever, yeah.
Because they didn't trust the weapon, like, using the gun.
Okay.
Which is why they got one of their bullets blessed, but sadly they only got one. So they went to go get a machete, and it was gone.
Oh, dude.
The next morning, this lady that lived, like, 2-3 blocks away had a broken leg in her sort of upper or like, not a leg, kind of like a hip, kind of like a broken hip, shot in like her hip area. She had broken it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there wasn't any stairs or high place that she could have fallen from. The lady was like 40. And like, within like 1 day, you don't die from that. She passed away from the broken, like, hip or like upper leg. She didn't have anything fatal. She should have been able to walk in like a couple of months. She passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because if she was, and I truly think she is, or was one of the white peck, I think because the bullet was blessed, it did cause her to pass away. And yeah, that's basically it. That's what I wanted to share.
That's all? That's all?
Yeah.
But you have anything else to say about like the creature?
Oh, well, yeah. There, like I said, there's many types of, creatures. There's the white oso, which is, it's the same thing, but it's a bear. Yeah, and it's, it's just crazy what they do. And one of the main things is also that when you hear one, it sounds as almost as chains dragging on the floor. And it's crazy. They believe that like they would eat people, but from my father's experience and what I could find, there was no evidence of that.
So they would literally just church animals.
Yeah, they would just terrorize the people too.
Alright.
And I don't want to necessarily say they had like powers, but I mean they kind of did. They would make
every time
people have
fevers and
feeling.
stuff.
Yeah. Daniel, I just have a question. Are we gonna talk about only animals, or should we, also talk about just, about supernatural stuff?
For right now, it's just mythical creatures. So yeah, I guess animals like the chupacabra, Bigfoot, stuff like that.
Okay, well, yeah,
the supernatural can be different. Yeah, that's a different episode.
Okay. But yeah, it's crazy.
A few questions about that though, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Holy shit, I literally just forgot what the hell's gonna say. Oh my god, I'm such an idiot. Okay, hold up. Wait. So like, when the lady died, like,
yeah.
Was it literally like the same day that you guys shot her, or
it
what?
It was like the same day. Because the dog would only go during the night. And the only way you would basically be able to see it is you would either see the silhouette of the dog, but no matter what, you would always see the glowing red eyes. And when the dog ran away, it was clear to them that it ran away in like sort of the general direction of where the lady lived. And so that's why, when she woke up and like in the morning, like, and because, they didn't have a lot of concept of time, like, of course everyone had watches, but it wasn't like industrialized, like, there was barely any cars, but you could still go places.
So how long ago was this, I mean?
No, this was like my father, the town he grew up in.
Yeah, how long ago? How long ago, like, time frame?
Well, my dad was like, almost my age. He was, I think,
don't
17.
Say okay.
He was a teen. He was fairly young.
So okay, that was a good like while ago. So yeah, I guess there wasn't any like a lot of stuff like that. Either way,
like
but
the most modern thing they would buy would be like a soccer ball, but like all the cars would be old, and there was barely any cars.
Yeah.
Like there was, so yeah. And so, to them it was, very clear that as soon as they woke up and, this lady was known to be, to do that type of stuff, witchcraft. When she woke up in basically the identical spot where they shot the dog, translated to like a person, where she had a, like, basically shattered bone, basically meant that, you know, she was the person that was doing this. And so, yeah. Do you have any other questions?
What I was gonna ask you was, like, did anyone ever try to explain, or did she try to explain what happened, or did nothing ever, like,
she...
Like, when she died, did she tell someone, oh, I fell, or?
Isolated, like, she didn't wanna...
Okay.
She didn't wanna leave her house.
But did she have any family or friends?
Not really.
Oh, okay.
She was almost isolated. And she didn't want to leave her house, and my best guess is that she didn't want anyone, you know, seeing all the stuff that she had, you know. Because, I mean, when you search it up, all the rituals you have to do and all the things needed, you know, it's disgusting. I don't think she wanted anyone to see that. I know I wouldn't.
I mean, like, well, for example, can you give us examples? So, I mean, we go in depth, you know, I mean, talk about this. Especially about
of animals, you know, drinking human blood.
Oh, God.
You know, mixing it in a, like, human skull, mixing ingredients. You know, drinking it out of, you know, an animal's head.
Ugh.
And, you know, them being religious, you know, that's, you know, a big red flag.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, imagine back then, it was like twice as religious as now. I mean, they fucking burn you. They grab you and burn you.
You do have to remember, it's not the United States, you know.
Oh, yeah,
it's completely different.
It's Mexico, but I mean, still, Mexico, they're pretty brutal down there. I mean, obviously, when they were burning witches, that was like the 1800s. I mean, in Mexico, I'm pretty sure they would still kill you, wouldn't they? Or I don't know.
Pretty sure they wouldn't, because, you know, the government was, you know, pretty developed. But yeah, it's the thing was, you know, there were still big cities, but there's still, the thing is that they're like in small towns, you know, they didn't even have roads, they had dirt roads. You know, even right now, when I go visit, and I usually stay in my mother's side of the family, you have to drive an hour straight into the woods, and there's just this green sign that says in the small town that they live in. I mean, only 500 people live in the town. Oh wow, small. Yeah, it's like small, and you know, there's one main road that has asphalt, and less than a quarter of a mile into the city, it stops, and the rest is just pure dirt. And you know, you walk, and there's just a bunch of trees, and sadly, I told my mom that I don't like the way that they do this, because I don't want to tell my grandmother. You know, there's no community dump. There's nothing to get rid of your trash, so they just go outside and they just burn it. Because, I mean, they're not going to just, you know, leave it outside. You know, it doesn't stink. It actually, the air is extremely refreshing. They just go outside, you know, things that they can't, like, plastic and stuff. They just go and they just burn it. Which is really bad for the environment. Obviously, yeah. Yeah. But that's how they would get rid of their trash, you know, it wouldn't leave a smell, honestly, so, yeah, but, you know, that place is completely isolated. Like, where we live, in the United States, you know, a lot of people, you ask them where their parents are from, they'll say the same town that my dad's from, you know, my dad almost knows everyone here who comes, every Mexican person, he knows their parents. Like not in the in the city we live in. Obviously not in the entire United States, because you know. No, obviously not. Yeah, from the city, the people that came here, he knows them. He knows literally almost everyone. And yeah, like it was a small town. So I mean, I'm not saying they would kill the witches because they still had laws, you know. I guess, I mean, like back then, I mean, especially in that time. I mean, I know it would just be, they just look down upon it like a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's not the 1700s, 1800s where, like, you know, obviously they would literally hunt witches. I mean, like now. And honestly, I kind of agree with that, hunting witches. Screw them. Okay, so we're getting into dangerous territory. If they're getting falsely accused, then yeah, sure. I mean, I guess burning's a little extreme. Quick chop. Okay. We should set the standards. Both me and my friend have the same beliefs. We are Christians. Yeah. But again, that just because you're not doesn't mean we hate you. Doesn't mean that. I just think that. Yeah. You know. Yeah.
we believe in the freedom of speech. We believe that you can express how you feel and stuff like that. Of course, there's limits. I don't think you can go around killing people because you're Satanist and you feel you have the right to. That's no. Or you have to like you can rape kids because that's what religion talks about. That's not okay.
Yeah, you know that's like crazy.
We'll get it more into that later on. Of course, another thing is we don't. When I said I'd grab a gun and shoot a dog, I'm not gonna shoot. I have pets. I'm not gonna shoot dogs because I think it's cool or funny.
Yeah.
It's because it was a demon dog, a demonic dog, and I don't think any of us wants to experience that. But you know, of course,
I like to think about it as putting down a dog. I mean, if a pit bull bites someone, it's literally mandatory for you to take it to the vet and have it put down. There's nothing you can do about it. It's just the way that it is, even if you don't want to.
I remember when my dog did someone.
Well, it's only they press charges and
Yeah.
Without bothering the dog, if the dog just goes and bites it.
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
like for example, in Mexico, and this is with my mother's side. A stray dog, went into the chicken coop and ate well, it didn't eat the chickens, it just killed the 2 chickens. So my grandfather went in and shot the dog with
a
rifle.
Oh my god!
I mean, it's not bad if you think about it. It'd be like you're working in a farm and a wolf is going and eating all your sheep. What do? You kill the wolf,
I mean, it's not a wolf, it's a little doggy.
It's the same concept.
Oh my god, you killed an innocent dog, Scott. You killed it. How dare you? Are you disgusting? I'm gonna continue this show by myself. Either way. But yeah, I mean, I would never kill a dog just cause, or it's just obviously this was this, even if you don't believe in God, this is obviously supernatural. I mean, there's a Doberman that's twice its normal size, glowing red eyes. I mean, it's oh, Scott, when you said it covered its...
And you know how Dobermans are all black, but their belly's a kind of a light brown?
Yeah, it's
no,
brownish.
It's completely black.
Well, I mean, there's white Dobermans, man. You can't just blame it on that. But once that's red...
No. It was just something unnatural about it.
Yeah, I mean, well, no shit.
And I have, okay, calm down. There's even, I have a bunch of more stories, a bunch more from my mom's side, but I think we should save that for the supernatural episode.
Well, is it animal related? Is it mythical creatures or?
No.
Okay, then we'll just save that. We'll just save that for later. But
well, there's one that semi is from my mom's side.
Then just say it. Just say it.
Okay.
Well, let me finish the sentence here, Scott. Let me finish my thought.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, so obviously just because a dog has different fur doesn't mean anything. It's just that obviously when it has glowing red eyes, Scott, when you said that it's paws where it can shave, that doesn't mean anything really. Because I mean, yeah, it's weird, but it doesn't mean anything. Some dogs do that. But once it has glowing red eyes, it's acting the way it is. Every time it comes around, you get a fever. When it gets shot. Yeah. When you aim a gun at it, you start to get incredibly drowsy. I mean, it's just multiple factors that just that wasn't a normal fucking dog,
Yeah.
So.
And well, basically, this is from now on. This is just completely my mother's side. So this has nothing to do with my father's side or my grandpa.
Yeah.
And well, basically. My mom, she lived in this, really small, even smaller than, the town my dad grew up in. And so, you ask almost anyone from Mexico that doesn't live in, an extremely big city, I'm talking not the capital, they'll tell you that, you ask their parents or their grandparents, they'll all tell you that witchcraft is real.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
I mean, my parents experienced it too, But
yeah. And so, basically, when my mother was younger, she was probably 6. Her cousin, or not her cousin, her uncle, my great uncle, or I guess just my uncle, he stole a pig from this lady. And she
oh my god, I remember you told me. Oh, that just scared the shit out of me, man. Alright, continue. Yeah. Sorry. I remember this story. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh.
And the thing is it'd be understandable if, they ate it because, both of my parents grew up poor. The thing was that he sold the pig. And when the lady, you know, and the people that owned the pig went and told him, like, at least give us some money from the pig that you clearly stole from us, he denied everything. And everyone knew, even my own family knew that, you know, it was stolen. And here's the sad part. My mom's aunt, she was pregnant. Anyways, you know, all this happens. You know, this stolen pig, and my aunt was pregnant, or my mom's aunt was pregnant for like 7 months, and the baby was normal, like it was fine. And so, you know, everything happens, and the lady holds this grudge, you know. And so, guys, please, what I'm about to say, you know, I do believe this happened, and this is gonna be, you know, just viewer discretion is advised. My mother told me this. I truly do believe her, because even my grandmother told me this. And, you know, when I went to Mexico and I talked and spoke with, you know, my mom's uncle, and they told me all about it, even in greater detail than my mom told me, but I really don't want to get into that much of detail. But just please, viewer discretion is advised. Anyways. So, when the baby was born, it literally was like she had given birth to a piglet. Like an actual piglet. Like, think of a centaur, but with instead the upper half, a literal pig. Like a literal breathing pig. And so, you know, extremely horrified, and this is where it gets even worse. Please take this with viewer discretion. They threw the baby into fire. Okay? Like, the newborn baby, they threw him into fire. Like, they made a big fire, and the whole, like, I'm talking, the whole town came together and saw them as they threw the baby into this, you know, fire. Here's the worst part. The baby didn't cry, and when it did, it would, you know, squeal like a pig.
Oh god.
But it didn't cry when it got thrown in the fire. It was just there with its eyes closed, you know, kind of curled up, and it wouldn't burn. Like, it straight up wouldn't burn. Like, it was just there. Like, just there. And they called the pastor to get there as soon as he could. And he goes, and the first thing he does, he doesn't even say a prayer. He just walks up, grabs holy oil, and just throws it on this, you know, demonic pig thing, and it just burns, and he just starts screaming. And I was, you know, it's horrifying.
Nah, bro.
It's just,
so,
you know, like,
yeah. Continue, sir.
But yeah, you know, they try and forget about it, but you know, you can't. Like, you can't forget about something like that.
Obviously,
you know, it's horrifying. Yeah, but that was all I wanted to say. I think, Daniel, you want to take it from here?
I'm not going to commit suicide. That was literally, oh my god. Dude, like, god. I remember when you told me the first time how, like, she gave birth to, like, a pig and, like, they burned it with, like, I remember that. Oh god, I couldn't, that was, god, disturbing. Hold up. But who made that happen?
So, the lady that, you know,
He stole a pig from?
he stole a pig from, you know, she went and, you know, just contacted this witch that lived in the city, or not the city, in, like, the small town.
Yeah.
And he told her the situation.
She told her.
At that time, it was basically almost like prostitution, but for witches, you know. You would pay them, and they would, you know, perform whatever they needed to do to get back at whoever did something to you. You know, they would do whatever they did, you know, whatever mumbo jumbo stuff they would do.
Mumbo jumbo.
You know, it was crazy.
Ugh. I mean, like, the thing for me, man, is just like, just like the way that. Imagine that, yeah, I mean, like, imagine like you giving birth and like a fucking pig just pulls out, you know, like shit. What?
like to just imagine holding a baby in your stomach for 9 months, just to like within its first hours of life, you have to burn it for the abomination that it is.
I mean, like, yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be sorry, but I honestly don't even feel like I do feel bad.
I feel bad for the mom, because I mean, like, your mom's aunt, like, that sucks.
But know? I mean, like, imagine keeping the baby, like, that's even worse.
No, yeah.
So yeah, like, sadly, I want to feel bad for the baby that did exist.
Yeah, because I mean, like, imagine how it
until the point, like, you can't, you know, it's an abomination.
I mean, like, yeah, that's just. It's literally a pig. I mean, like, fine. Like, if it's there's nothing wrong with the baby, it's fine. But like, even if it was a normal baby that had like really weird things going on, I'd still be okay with it because it's still a baby. But like, nah, that ain't a baby, bro.
It wasn't like just a baby with a deformation.
Yeah.
Like, it straight up had 12 nipples. You know. Like it was an actual pig. Like. You know, it's weird. But yeah, I think it's about time for Daniel to take over. Unless you guys want to hear, you know, some other stories that happen. I think we're gonna save that for the new Supernatural episode.
Yeah, for a different episode. Holy shit, man, that's just shocking. The thing for me, I was just thinking, you know, we talk about what we believe in certain aspects of creatures like Bigfoot, dragons, you know, minotaurs, centaurs, things like that. Like, just talk about mythical creatures in general, you know. So, so like, for example, things like what do you think about things like Bigfoot? I mean, in your opinion.
Okay, here's my thing. I think that Bigfoot does exist, but I don't think it's what people say it is. I genuinely think it's like some sort of wild, you know, subspecies of a gorilla, or actually an orangutan.
Yeah,
you know, look at all of these descriptions of Bigfoot. They say, oh, he's a humanoid. He's basically I forget what it's called. Correct. Basically, a Homo sapien is what they basically compare him to. A Homo sapien.
A Homo sapien is a human.
No, it's it is. Basically what scientists think we evolved from.
Look, no. Look it up right now.
It's like, no, but yeah, that's what it's. But it's not really a human. It's kind of like, it's like a dumb version of a human. Like, I'm being serious.
I don't know about that now. I'm pretty sure that's just like the name for humans.
No. What? Okay, Daniel, what are we called? The human race?
Yeah, obviously. I mean, like, there's like a tiger called tiger.
Or is that not the
but
scientific
there's like
name
Latin names
people?
For stuff. You know what? Fuck you, Scott. Just whatever.
Exactly. Anyways, but you know, I don't think that's what it is. I genuinely think it's, you know, a subspecies of maybe an orangutan.
Because I mean, it actually did. It's called Gigantopithecus. I mean, it was like an orangutan. If you look it up, it's huge. But I mean, it was actually real.
Yeah, and you know the thing about like the big feet. I don't think the feet are big. I think it's proportionate to its body. Because I mean, by that standards, you know, your feet could be huge. That doesn't mean anything. You know, it's like our feet compared to an ant's foot. You know, I guess we're Bigfoot then, right? No, it's because we're proportionate. It's like the same reason why, you know, they call a whale a whale. I mean, its flipper is huge. It doesn't make it anything special because it's proportionate to its body. But yeah, I don't think it's, you know, some sort of humanoid thing. I think it's just, you know, an orangutan that, you know, kind of just lives in caves and stuff.
The thing for me is, I mean, like, the Earth is huge. I mean, obviously, you know, shit. The Earth's huge, right? I mean, there's just so many places we have yet to explore. There's so many caves. There's so many burrows. So many things that we just don't know about. We can't just say for yes or no for sure that we can prove the existence or say, oh yeah, for sure Bigfoot doesn't exist. Because I mean, we don't know that. You know?
Yeah.
Another thing is like like I said before, I talked about this before. You know, apparently beings like centaurs, minotaurs, you know, like things like you see. I mean, for example, this is gonna sound weird. But has anyone seen like the Chronicles of Narnia? Have you seen the Chronicles of Narnia?
No, but
It's like there's like a lion that talks. It's like the lion.
oh yeah,
the lion.
What about that lion?
No, not about him specifically. I mean, like
Don't recite the scriptures
yeah,
to me, which
no,
I
it's
was there when it was written.
It was the magic.
Yeah.
It was it's like not the lions. I mean, you don't remember all like the weird creatures that were in that movie, like Cyclops and all that shit, like giants. Yeah, apparently, like,
or you know, basic Greek mythology.
Oh yeah, I guess if you look at it, it's basically mythology. But apparently beings like that, they did in fact exist. I mean, there's you know,
I mean, how are you gonna come up with, you know, just half goat,
no,
half person?
Hey, shrooms are a hell of a drug, bro. Hey, don't.
Hey, Daniel, look at me.
Where are you?
I'm next to a sheep.
Where are you?
I'm doing various acts with a sheep.
Oh, thanks to you. What is wrong with you? What the hell?
I don't see you. Oh, no, please.
What the hell is wrong with you, fucking freak?
I mean, unless that's what they were doing back in the day.
So I mean, from like what I've like kind of looked up or like heard about is that these beings existed, but because there's accounts of them. Like, there's multiple accounts from different sources of these beings, of these deformed animals, and from what I've heard or from what I've been able to like
collect.
See, I get from thank you. From what I was able to collect, they existed, but their origins were that they were the offspring of demons and normal people, and they would carry on, you know, like the disgusting, you know, because they would look like the disgusting features of demons, you know. So that's from what I've heard about. So I'm pretty sure they did exist. They did roam the earth. And they were like the being. What I wonder though is, I mean, obviously there's still people. It's difficult. Who still have rituals? I'm pretty sure there's still people who have intercourse with. I mean, there's like people. Oh, I had sex with the devil.
Yeah, bestiality. I mean, if it wasn't a thing, why is it still like a word? Like, it's illegal in almost every single state.
I'm not sure. Is it? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. For me, like, I'm not sure, but that's like sex with animals. I mean, you're fucking a dog. That's like different. I mean, like actually having sex with demons. I'm pretty sure. It's like I'm not pretty sure. I'm sure people do that still, and it's just like, where are the babies? And like, that sounds weird.
And but, you know, it is possible. I mean, you search up, you know, in India, a monkey, you know, had intercourse with a pig. And basically a humanoid-looking pig, which is it. Oh yeah, and the story that I told you. If you want to know what the baby looked like, just search up. You know, if you search up, you know, you go to India. There's this like pig with like long, almost human arms, with like long legs, and you know, in Indian culture, you know, they see that as, you know, their gods. Yeah, and you know, if you watch the video...
is this real? This is real?
Yeah, no, this is real. You can search this up on YouTube.
Oh, seriously?
That's honestly the best description that I can give you of what the, you know, the baby looked like.
I mean, you weren't there when it happened, obviously, right?
No, obviously not, but, you know, from the descriptions, that's basically the best thing that...
Oh, well, I wasn't sure about that. I mean, I've heard about like
And you know, it literally looks like a breed between a human and a person, but they basically find out that a monkey had gone into like where the pigs were in, you know, had intercourse with a pig. And you know, so we do know it's possible for one of those things to actually be born. So you know, where are the babies, you know? We know it's possible from, you know, all these animal half-breeds that, you know, actually have happened.
Yeah, but like, I've heard possible. I've heard genetic hybrids, like they make a goat with like a spin a spider webs and shit like that. There's like, no, I've heard about things like that. I've never heard about actual intercourse animals and like giving fucking birth to like these shit.
You know, you can search it up, and you know the baby the piglet thing. You know, it died in like I think it almost lived for like a week and it died.
Well, yeah, because I mean, obviously it can't, you know.
Yeah, and like they worshipped it in India, and when you watch the video, they almost have like a parade for it. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird, man.
But to the best of my knowledge, that's what I think the baby looked like. I think that's the closest thing I imagine that it would look like.
Jesus, man. No, but I mean, like for me,
yeah, I mean, these animals can exist. So like, where are they? You know?
Because I mean, yeah, for me, I'm thinking, you know, I'm talking about because I mean, there's people who say, "Oh, I had sex with the devil, I had sex with demons, I do rituals." I mean, I'm pretty sure that I'm thinking like, what's different now and then? But why don't these women get pregnant? Why don't they have the offspring of demons? Why don't they have the offspring of the devil? Which I don't want. That's disgusting, and I don't want things like that. You know, no, I should hope no one wants things like that. But I mean, for me, I'm thinking, what's changed? Why aren't centaurs? Why aren't minotaurs? Why aren't giants, cyclops? All these things still walking around. You know, why did they all of a sudden disappear? That's what I'm wondering. You know.
Exactly.
But I mean, what do you think about dragons, man?
I think they're real. I mean, you look at a dragon. It's just a It's basically a dinosaur that flies, and there's dinosaurs that flies. I mean, a pterodactyl, boom, it's a dragon. You know, like what?
Yeah, but I mean, what about the fire shit? You know.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, you think about this, right? I forgot what this snake is called, but you know, there's a snake. You know, it pretends to act like a rattlesnake by moving its tail really fast on tall grass, and it makes the same sound as a rattlesnake. You know, things like that. I think a couple of years ago, I actually saw like almost documentary about this. It's like, it's kind of those like wannabe history documentaries, but you know, it has like pretty okay, you know, pretty okay animation, but it looks good and somehow really bad at the same time, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And so, you know, I'm watching this, and, you know, they have records of this type of dinosaur. I don't remember what it's called because it was years ago. And, you know, they would go and eat, like, phosphate, or they wouldn't really eat it, because we know that chickens are closely related to dinosaurs. And we know that chickens... inside of their stomach, they have rocks. Rocks that they use to grind their food. Yeah, they're called grind rocks. Inside of chickens, there's rocks that they use to digest and break down food. And so, in the documentary, they basically explain that, you know, they would sort of eat these rocks, but because of the way their bodies were, you know, the rocks wouldn't get digested. They would just stay in their body. And all this, like, phosphate and stuff that they would eat, or not eat, but they would basically go and, like, you know, inhale it or almost swallow it, and it wouldn't stay in their lungs. It'd stay like in their underbelly. I don't remember, but it wouldn't digest. It's almost like a venomous snake shooting its venom or biting and injecting it. You know, it's like that. And so they would eat it, and then that's where it would go. And so, basically, it wasn't really them spitting fire. It was basically them, you know, spitting acid that reacted like fire once it touched the air, and it started to oxidize. And you know, like if you've seen those videos where like there's methane under like lakes, and then once they break it, it has like this explosion. It was basically that. So yeah, I do believe that dragons are real, but I think they're just dinosaurs.
I guess I think you're right. Pterodactyls are basically the same thing. I mean, I don't know the facts of dragons because there's no like dragon bodies. I mean, like to like think, oh, like this is their like chemistry. This is how they are. But we don't know a dragon's biology, But I'm pretty sure that a pterodactyl is a dragon because it's a flying dinosaur, and that's what a dragon is. But I mean, all these accounts about how like they see it now, like to this day, there's like, oh, I saw a dragon.
Not possible.
I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, there's so like, what if like how like they say that that water dinosaur, the one that has
like the one in Jurassic Park that like. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
No, that's a mosasaurus. That's different. No, that's a giant beast. No, like it's a little one. It's like it has like the neck, a long neck, the neck of a brachiosaurus.
It basically like the Loch Ness monster.
Yeah, think exactly.
That's small, right?
It's exactly that. Some people say, oh, I mean that's the same. That's the dinosaur from back then. It survived because it was in the water. It wasn't affected by the so-called comet that killed them. It was so that the Loch Ness.
I don't think it was a comet. But I don't know.
Oh, we'll talk about that later. But I don't know like what you think about it, what it was. But
no, I don't know if I think about that. But yeah, I guess.
All right. Well, either way, the thing for me is that it say, oh, it survived, and that's what the Loch Ness monster was, which is a possibility. I mean, think about how vast, how giant the ocean. I mean, the ocean itself freaks me out. I mean, have you ever thought about the ocean, Scott?
Yeah, and it doesn't scare me.
Oh, dude, I'm terrified of it. I mean, I'm not scared to go and swim. I'm totally fine with that. But I mean, what scares me is I think about the massive depth that the ocean has. I mean, think how deep about it is, and think about the amount of things that are down there. The creatures, the organisms that live down there. I mean, they gotta be massive, dude. I mean, of course, there's like some normal size one, but there's gotta be some massive fucking things down there, dude. Yeah. I always think, I mean, like, what if one of them just wakes up, the next thing I know, there's like a fucking Godzilla starting to go around.
Isn't it weird how if you get like a rock from the moon, it makes the Earth heavier? Like, because right now the Earth is as heavy as it was when it started. Because we're an enclosed system.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, if you get like rocks from the moon, you're making the Earth heavier. Ain't that crazy?
I haven't thought about that. No, what the fuck are you talking about, man? All I know is
like
that
a moon rock, like
Yeah, I know what we're talking about.
NASA collects a rock from the moon or something.
I mean, we have rocks from like asteroids and comets.
Yeah, isn't it weird how it's basically making the Earth heavier?
Well, every new baby is basically making a new. Well, how are we not? Oh wait. Oh
exactly, exactly, bro.
Oh yeah, let me think about it.
Isn't that crazy?
Kinda, yeah. I just thought about like, well, wait, shit, yeah. But for me, what scares me about the ocean is the depth and thinking about like what the hell is down there. But aside from the point, I think that there's definitely a possibility that something like a dragon could still exist to this day. I mean, there's multiple accounts and stories. Most of the people are just buzzed out of their brains. They're fucking shroomed up. But I mean, it's I feel like it's possible one of them are still out there. I mean, at least one that can still be existing. And there's accounts. There's so many accounts.
One could exist. I don't think.
Oh.
I mean, also like, how do scientists know what dinosaurs look like? Think about it. I mean, they just have the bones.
Yeah, the fossils.
Like, I guess okay, from the bone structure you could determine how much they weigh, their height, everything.
Because bones have a limit, they can't support that much.
Yeah,
they can't support infinite weight.
They show you a T-Rex, you have a vague image about it. What's stopping them from a T-Rex to being literally see-through or something? Because there's a fish that's see-through.
There's a lot of organisms that are see-through.
Yeah, like what's stopping a T-Rex from being see-through, or like a pterodactyl from being extremely dark, or
No, well, nothing. I mean, like, we're just guessing what they look like based off of their bones. But I mean, I'm pretty sure, yeah, they could be. They could be like they could have been pitch black. They could have been white. I mean, they didn't have to be necessarily colors, you know.
Like,
So I mean, yeah, they totally, yeah, because I mean, there's like orange tigers and stuff. So I mean, they probably could have been different colored dinosaurs. There's probably
yeah, I'm like, bro,
yeah.
there's pink flamingos. What, like, imagine seeing a T-Rex that's pink.
I mean, it could. I guess if you were to sit down think about like everything, yeah, it's more than possible that dinosaurs do in fact have different like yeah, dinosaurs definitely existed. I mean, like, it's like dinosaurs, they do have different like colors, different, you know, structures and stuff like that. That's possible.
You know, Daniel, in the Bible it says that dinosaurs existed.
Where?
In the Bible.
Where? No,
Actually,
that's so vague. That's so specific. I mean, where, like, specifically, where does it say it?
I'm pretty sure Jacob said it, like the son of Abraham.
Well, what did he say?
He said that there is these like beast before man, and he like literally gives description of a bronchosaurus. Like, I'm not even joking, almost word for word. He talks about a giant beast with like a long neck that feeds on leaves.
Oh shit! Well, I mean, I didn't know, but I mean, like, since I said before, we're both
Here, I'll
Christian.
search this up.
Yeah, so they're both Christian. We obviously, you know, we do stuff like that. But I mean, I don't know about dinosaurs being, you know, I've never heard about dinosaurs having description in the Bible. You know, and obviously, just because it's not in the Bible doesn't mean it wasn't existed. I mean, you know.
Or not, Jacob. It's in the book of Job. Look.
Hold.
Verse 15. Behold now, behemoth, which I made with thee, he eateth grass as an ox. Lo, now his strength is in his loins, and his force is in the navel of his belly. He moveth his tail like a satyr. The sinew of his stones are wrapped together. His bones are as strong pieces of brass. His bones are like bars of iron. What do you think of that? What do you think of?
I guess, yeah, it could be dinosaur. It could be another animal that we know about. It could be another big animal. It's not necessarily be a dinosaur.
Bro, what's an animal with his bones are strong pieces of brass?
And iron. I don't know.
Exactly. Like, bro, it says, behold now, a behemoth.
Oh, yeah, I guess. I mean, there's some big-ass animals out there, man, I didn't even know about.
No, like, it's right next to what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, yeah.
Describes behemoth, and then a sea monster, Leviathan. He demonstrates to Job the futility of questioning God, who alone created these beings and who alone can capture them.
Wait, he talks about Leviathan in the Bible?
Yeah.
Holy shit, I didn't know about that. Yeah, I mean, see, so sea monsters exist.
Yeah, I
oh,
that's what
dude,
I'm saying,
I'm not going back into the beach, man.
Like, dinosaurs exist.
Yeah, they did exist.
I mean, like, that's why we find the bones now.
Like, yeah, I know, I mean, like, obviously, they existed, but I mean, shit, I didn't know, like, there was, like, a council. Oh, dude, but I'm not going back into the ocean.
Excuse me.
But, yeah, there's so many stories about, like, animals, I guess.
Yeah. Daniel, so, how much time we got?
I'm not sure, I can't check the time.
You want to end it here, or you want to keep going?
Not just gonna end it here. Alright, well, thanks, guys. This was kind of a weird episode. Of course, there's many different beliefs on what we're talking about, what you think.
We're also gonna talk about, you know, various types of things, you know, different genres.
For example, I said this in the last episode. I mean, there's gonna be some stupid episodes, one that you guys don't like. I mean, we're just talking about different topics that come into our head, you know. And you know, me and Scott we're chatting, and he talked about how this his dad had an experience with something like that. Like I said, I hadn't heard the story before. I heard the pig one before, but I hadn't heard the new story that he told me right now with his dad. But when we were talking about this with dad, so I'm like, oh, you know what, let's just talk about this in the podcast, talk about dragons, Bigfoot,
I think for a future episode we should talk about all of the supernatural experiences that we've had. You know, just call it ghost stories.
Oh, okay, yeah, alright. Oh, dude, because we both have a lot of... Alright, so you know what, well, yes, thanks for tuning in, if you did tune in. Just subscribe if you want, because I mean, we really appreciate it. But I guess we'll see you in the next one. This has been an episode of Co Conspirators, and we appreciate your support. Later.
Bye. Bye, guys. Bye.